Welcome to the series where I test out money-making methods from the OSRS Wiki. Feel free to leave suggestions on which moneymaker you'd like to see next. And also, if you didn't already know, I have a nice playlist that I've created that has all of the previous moneymakers that I've already tried, so go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. With that being said, let's get into the video. So for today's video, we will be taking a look at Herbiboar. Now, this isn't on the OSRS Wiki money-making list, but I think it should be because there's a lot of stuff on there that is like less than 5k an hour, and somehow it still makes it on there, and this is pretty decent money, as well as some good hunter XP. And also, I'm doing this because so many of you have actually asked for me to do 1 hour of Herbiboar, and I don't mind doing it at all since this is what I did for 99 Hunter. As soon as I unlocked it, I pretty much did it all the way. Now, me personally, I enjoyed doing Herbiboar more than hunting Chinchampas, but I feel like I might be in the minority because there's a lot of people who do enjoy doing Chinchampas, and I think it's just because you make a lot more money doing that than this. But for me, this was more chill, so I did this for most of the way to 99. Now, as for the gear setup, you will be needing your full graceful. This will help tremendously since you are running around for most of the activity. I'm also bringing the secateurs because you do need that to actually harvest the Herbiboar, so make sure you have that. I'm also bringing my Explorer's Ring 4 because it provides me with some stamina boosts, and of course I'm also bringing the Max Cape because, well, it acts as a graceful cape and there's some helpful perks in there as well. I also have the Dig Site necklace as a teleport to the area, and then I have in the inventory some stamina potions along with the herb sack. Now, herb sack really isn't necessary, but it'll definitely help out because you won't have to bank as much. You'll be able to do this activity for a lot longer without having to visit the bank, so I highly recommend getting that before starting the grind. You might also want to consider bringing some sort of shield if you are a lower level, because there are some crabs that wander around and they can hurt you, as well as some fungi that if you disturb will spawn and also do some damage. So if you're low level, you might want to bring a shield. Just make sure it doesn't interfere with the weight. The goal is to keep the total weight as low as possible. And here I am just showing you a way to get here by using the Dig Site pendant. You can teleport to Fossil Island and then use the mushrooms to get to this area. If you don't have the mushrooms unlocked yet, if this is your first time visiting the area, then you can just teleport to the dig site, take this boat to Fossil Island, and then head up north, and you are also in the same spot here. So just make sure you activate the mushrooms because that teleport is pretty handy. I believe there's 4 throughout Fossil Island, and they're pretty nice. Now that we have the gear setup and the way to get there out of the way, we can go ahead and start. But I want to make sure that I take my little pet for a walk before we go. He doesn't leave the player-owned house very often, so I figured we'd take him for a little stroll for at least an hour. Now, I did get extremely lucky with this pet. He is a 1 in 6,500 drop rate, and I believe I got him around 2,000 KC, so very happy about that. But now we can go ahead and jump into the full hour of hunting Herbiboar. For this activity, you will be needing 80 Hunter to actually do this activity. While you can actually boost up to 80 to do it, but you don't get as much Hunter XP because the XP actually scales off of your base level. So might not be worth it, might be worth it. I'll leave that up to you. I think if I remember correctly, I actually did boost from like 77 or 78 until I got up to 80, and then I didn't need the Hunter potions anymore, but still, it's up to you. Now, earlier I did mention the herb sack being a very nice item to have. It's not necessary, but it does help out with the amount of Herbiboars you can catch per hour since you don't have to bank as much. If you don't have the herb sack, you can actually bank at, well, it's not really a bank, but you can note all of the herbs that you get at the tool leprechaun that is next to the hardwood trees. Which, by the way, I highly recommend doing your hardwood trees every, I believe it's like 3 to 4 days. I am going for the farming pet and I still don't have it, but I do make sure to do all of my tree runs and other farming stuff. Now, thankfully, if you have Runelight, It makes it really easy to do this activity. All of the areas that you need to inspect will be highlighted in either blue or green whenever you are on the last step of the trail. And normally you have to look for the herbibore's footprints, but Lawliet draws these nice little white tiles that are very easy to see, so this activity is very chill and very AFK. Well, maybe not so much AFK, but it is pretty chill. And once you get into the motions of it, I mean, you can pretty much play a different account while you're doing this as well. Now, if you take a look at the wiki page on the Herbiboar, it will tell you some guaranteed tracks that you can expect to see, depending on where you inspect certain spots from. Now, me personally, I didn't get too into it where I knew where the paths were going to be. Like I said, Lawliet has the very helpful feature that makes this pretty easy to do, so I didn't stress out about that too much. But I guess if you want it to be super efficient, then you can go ahead and take a look at some of those guaranteed tracks. Now, not only will you be getting various herbs from doing this activity, but you will also receive numalite and unidentified fossils. Now, these fossils are used to help finish some of the exhibits down in the Varrock Museum, so I highly recommend keeping these fossils and doing all of those because that is some free runecrafting XP. Now, after you finish the exhibits down in Varrock, you can hold on to the fossils or you can use them for some other activities around Fossil Island. I know that you can get some prayer XP from them, and I think you can also trade them in for some numalite, but me personally, I'm holding on to them just in case there's ever some sort of update that requires us to have more fossils. Now, not only will you be needing a high hunter level to do this activity, but having a high herb lore level also helps out because that will influence the quality of herbs that you will get. The higher your level, the better chance you have of receiving better herbs. I also mentioned that it was important to bring the magic secateurs early on, and that is because you will actually receive more herbs when you are harvesting from the Herbiboar if you have them equipped, so make sure you bring those. So since we have both 99 hunter and 99 herb lore, it'll be interesting to see what the max rates you can get are and what kind of herbs we will be getting at the end of this 1 hour. Of course, I'm not entirely efficient, but I think we got pretty close to being it. Just keep in mind that your levels will influence also how much XP you get for doing this activity, so if you're not getting as much as me, don't panic, it's perfectly normal. The wiki page does state, however, that you can catch around 59 to 66 herbivores per hour while using stamina potions, so if you're around that range, you're doing just fine. And if you happen to have the minimum level of 80 hunter, you can expect to get somewhere between 115,000 and 128,000 XP per hour. So still, that is some pretty good rates even when you have the minimum level. And with that being said, we have finished our 1 hour, and here's a look at all of the different herbs that we got from this 1 hour, along with some numalite and some rare fossils. Now, I didn't mention this before, but the fossils can weigh quite a bit, so it might be wise to bank those as soon as possible. And here you can see 409,000 is the total loot at the end of the 1 hour. And just for the sake of the video, I am going to be putting in the herbs for lower than market price, just to sell them off as quickly as possible. But with like any moneymaker, I do recommend that you put them in there for at least market or a little bit over, and then just leave them in overnight so you can make a little bit more profit. The prices of herbs always seem to be changing depending on, well, a bunch of random factors, but I feel like the prices of seeds have gone down recently a lot, and I think it's probably because of the whole Twitch Prime membership thing going on right now. I think there's a lot of bots thieving from master farmers, so the prices of seeds are going down along with some of the herb prices. But as you saw there, the last amount of money that we had in the end was 404,694 GP, so definitely not bad. We can now go ahead and calculate the total amount of money that we made after subtracting the cost of the stamina potions. So if we add up all of the cost of supplies for this 1 hour, we get 35,838 GP. If we subtract that from the total amount of money that we made, which was 404,694 GP, we get a grand total profit of 368,856 GP. Now, I gotta say that's a pretty decent moneymaker, especially when you consider the fact that we got a whopping 161.7 thousand Hunter XP from this 1 hour. So not only are you getting some massive XP gains, but you're also getting a little bit of money in the process. I just want to say thanks for checking out the video, and if you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a thumbs up and possibly a subscription. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next episode.